All right, joining us now, Michael Faulkender, former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Economic Policy. And by the way, he is now the Chief Economist at the America First Policy Institute. So how about that? Congratulations, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry.
And my great pal, Steve Moore, from FreedomWorks and Committee to Unleash Prosperity and the Heritage Foundation. And I got to add the book with that awful name, Govzilla. You can buy that book? You can buy that
Did you buy that yet?
I know, you sent it to me. It's someplace in my house. Do you think I made any progress with Kevin McCarthy? It was your idea initially. But really, the light bulb went off. You were on this show a couple weeks ago. What's the first thing? I was going to make you prince for a day or king for a day on the economy. And you said, basically, turn on the oil and gas spigots because it permeates every nook and cranny of the economy. I'm paraphrasing with
That's right.
in there. So you heard Kevin McCarthy. He was a pretty smart fellow. What do you think? You think he's going to go there?
I do. I mean, he said that it's going to be one of the first bills out of the House, and it's important to send a signal to the American people that American energy independence is back on the table. We need to start producing that here at home instead of being reliant upon other nations to provide for our energy needs, because it's not just the production and manufacturing, it's also the transportation of everything we do. You bring that down, you bring down inflation throughout every sector of the economy.
I mean, it's amazing. Everything. We looked at I have it here. I'm not going to bore everybody with reading it for the umpteenth time on this show. But, I mean, things like stethoscopes and MRIs. Now, groceries at home, all right, fertilizers, that is really important. And food prices have gone up, I don't know, 17 or 18% since Biden was elected president. Your column out today, I think it was on Fox Business Digital or some such thing, you're basically making the same case. Start by opening up the spigots.
Yeah, well, look at diesel. That's another example, right? Diesel prices have doubled, and diesel is used in trucks. And trucks transport almost everything we got. And so you're right. And you were right to say, that energy is one of the major inputs in our food supply in terms of the fertilizer. So that's a big deal. I also, was very pleased that Kevin McCarthy is talking about, we've got to get government spending under control. I mean, we've seen $4 trillion of added spending in Biden in 2 years. And I believe that's kind of the match that really lit the forest fire of this inflation. So but sometimes Republicans get in and they say they're going to cut the budget and they don't. So we got to keep a watchful eye on these guys to make sure they actually do cut some of that spending.
Totally. I mean, You're exactly right. Sometimes they're reliable, but sometimes they go completely off the reservation.
That's what we're here for, right? Is to be the watchdogs.
Well, to a large extent, that is true. All of us together. Look, AFPI is the same thing. If they get it right, fine. If they don't get it right, we got to come after them. I want to see, a little more discussion of tax cuts. You've got the bonus depreciation, which is so important for plants, equipment, technology, making the workforce smarter, right, Mike Faulkender? I mean, a lot of that stuff starts to phase out at the end of this year. That's very worrisome, I think. I'd like to see them talk about it. They won't get it through Biden's veto pen or probably the Senate, but they need to talk about it.
No, absolutely. I mean, one of the most important contributors that the Trump administration made was to make the U.S. tax code once again competitive, to send a message that entrepreneurship and business expansion here in the United States is something that we once again welcome. And if we start allowing those pro-business, pro-growth tax cuts to expire and instead revert back to one of the highest corporate income tax rates around the world, you're going to once again see jobs transferred overseas. We were able to realize productivity growth, which at the end of the day is the source of real wage growth, as a result of the capital investment that we got as a result of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And having that start to reverse, as you said, at the end of this year is not what the American people need.
I mean, I know it was in the commitment to America. I just like to hear it. You know what I mean? I just like it's music. It gives me a great feeling up and down my spine. I mean, I just really like to hear that.
So we went from the highest, we talked with Trump about this many times. We went from the highest corporate tax country in the world to, less than the average. And that brought one of my favorite statistics. I know you've talked about this. $1 trillion.
Right.
That's how much money is poured into the United States. Now, contrast that. Unfortunately, it breaks my heart to see what's happening in Britain. They're in a recession, and they're raising taxes, Larry.
Absolutely terrific.
Isn't that crazy?
Root canal.
It is so we should be cutting taxes.
Root canal without Novocaine. Root canal without any marmalade.
And I want to say one thing. Our critics, the people who said it would not work, the Paul Krugmans of the world, they were wrong. They were wrong. It worked. Did you see the tax revenue data just came out? We're getting record tax
Record
revenues
highs.
with
Record
lower
highs.
tax rates. I think Art Laffer taught us that.
What do you think, just speaking of Art Laffer, let's just have a little Art Laffer minute here.
I love
Art's, of course we do. Art's point, though, is that the Republicans have got to restore themselves with clarity to everybody out there that they are the stewards of a prosperous economy, okay? What do you think about how important is that?
Prosperity is everything. And you can't have a functioning economy with 8, 9, 10% inflation. You just can't. And I believe that cutting government spending, and you're not going to get there just by raising interest rates to the Fed. That's kind of an austerity measure. Let's get the growth. You've said this a million times on your show, but it bears repeating. If you increase the supply of goods and services, inflation comes down.
Right.
I mean, Milton Friedman said that, Ronald Reagan said that, Donald Trump said that, you said it, and it's absolutely right. And I'm tired of this idea, oh, we got to slow down the economy, bring down inflation. I don't even get the logic of that.
All right, so I want to put up a chart. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work. We have an M2 money supply chart. Now, no one on this panel is a pure Friedmanite or a pure monetarist, but it is interesting to look at if we get it up there. M2 soared for about 15, 18 months, growing at close to 30%. Right. There it is. I think it's actually up on the full screen. Now, note, M2 is basically, this is the growth rate, is collapsing. Right. It's basically collapsing. It's about zero right now. Now, Mike, I want to go to you first on this. There's two inferences, usually. One is it will bring the inflation rate down with some kind of lag. We may be seeing the earliest disinflation sign. Two is it's going to bring the whole economy down. Nominal GDP, real GDP. Okay, I want to say that. Those are the two things. Now, here's what I don't get. We had blowout retail sales number the other day. The Atlanta Fed GDP tracker is showing over 4% real growth in Q4 after about, 2.5%, actually 2.9% in Q3. In other words, first half, slump, contraction, high inflation. Second half, it looks like somewhat lower inflation and actually a rebound in the economy. That is not consistent with M2, but what do you think about this story?
I think we need to not overestimate 1 month of retail sales, because if you look at the 12-month number on retail sales and you inflation adjust it, we're a 0.5% a year ahead, 0.5% ahead of where we were a year ago. That does not tell me that we've got an overheating economy. So, yes, the money supply is coming down. Yes, the inflation number on a 12-month basis has gone from 9 down to 7.5. But even if you just look at the October inflation number and you do it on an annual basis, we're still looking at nearly 5.5% inflation. The Fed is nowhere near done getting this economy under control and getting the money supply back to where it needs to be. We can't be at 5.5% inflation. We've got to still bring it down even more. But as Steve said, we need to stop thinking that that is entirely a Federal Reserve problem. Right? You need all three elements of government working in concert with each other. And right now, Chairman Powell's spending way too much time battling bad fiscal policy and bad regulatory policy, and to think that monetary policy is going to save.
By the way, I don't think he battled it very much in 2021. I think he was cheerleading for that goofball $2 trillion thing, but that's a separate segment. I just want to be not political. I want to be empirical. I want to look at the actual facts. And it looks to me like the fourth quarter economy is going to be, I'm just going to say, very positive. The third quarter was too. It's an interesting story. While the money supply, and I don't even know if the monetarist models really work anymore. They seem to be in the last couple of years. They didn't work for a couple of decades. You know, what's your take on this? Because things are happening that you wouldn't necessarily think are going to happen.
So my take on this is I was so depressed in the first 4 or 5 days after the election. And then the more I thought of it, you cheered me up a little bit. You said it's not as bad as we think. The most important, we were burying the headline. The headline was that you no longer have democratic total control of government.
Okay.
And that is a gigantic stimulus to the economy. It really is. I don't care if it's 219, 220, I mean, I'd like it to be 222 or 24, but the point is, and by the way, the historical evidence is clear. When you have divided power, checks and balances, the economy does better. And by the way, that was priced into the market, 3 or 4 months ago.
Into the stock market.
Exactly.
I know.
So
Absolutely.
this is a good thing. Now, the one thing I worry a little bit in those statistics you're talking about, yes, people spend a lot of money, but their borrowing is going way up. And I worry about that.
And the saving rate's going
That's
down.
Right.
So it wasn't a cavalry, but it was a platoon.
It was enough.
It was a
we got just
good-sized
enough
platoon,
soldiers there to
just
climb the
enough to
wall
get through.
and take back the fort.
Mike Faulkender and Steve Moore, thank you both. Terrific stuff.